Well, certainly tonight is historic and important as we celebrate the 10th year for our School of Art and Design. And if you are familiar with any sort of initiatives, if it's a business, getting through the first year is critical. Many, was it 67% filled within the first year? Certainly there's something to be said about a 10th year that speaks to that collective support, recognition, and certainly a lot of great individuals producing the synergy at this place, the School of Art and Design. Let me start first in the corridor of recognition, recognizing PJC Foundation Chair, John Williams. John, some love there. Chairman of our Board of Directors, Larry Kelly. Here, Charles. Certainly to all of the any board members, PJC or West Kentucky, who are here today, we also want to acknowledge you as well. I always like to recognize too our colleagues from Murray State represented this evening, Dean David Balthrop. I said that correctly, so thanks for being here, representing Bob Jackson here as well too. By way of my remarks, so there's a couple of things that I intentionally want to hover on that I think is very significant and important, particularly as we talk about the incredible importance and timeliness of the arts, the innovative and creative aspects that it certainly brings into the learning institution, but equally and as importantly, the economic impact. One of the realities is that certainly as a state, there's very close attention being paid to efforts that tie into workforce and economic development. Last week, I was part of the annual Frankfurt trip. I sat through the session with Secretary of Tourism, Don Parkinson, and his team. I thought it was very powerful that he spoke very highly of Paducah firsthand. He's been here, he's been in this facility. He says, bar none, this is the most incredible facility in the Commonwealth. I told the secretary that I appreciate those kind remarks, but if he's ever wrestling for extra revenue, please send him downstream to the west. I don't want to make that very, very clear to him as well. During the session, there was a handout, and I gave a copy to our good friends at the Paducah Sun, because I do want to highlight a couple of items here. So what I have here is McCracken County Public Value Summary. So this is an assessment from the state in terms of the impact of the arts. Collectively, there's about $10.7 million, $10.7 million supporting the arts machine, if you will, within Paducah McCracken County. They say we serve over 43,000 students who engage in some aspect of the arts. And that's important, obviously, for us as a higher ed institution. About 225 jobs, including full-time, part-time, and contract for service. These are but a few examples of the ways in which, from this location, and certainly throughout our city, that there's a direct tie-in with economic development. And we know collectively that when individuals come from near and afar, spending time in our city, they invest from the meals that they eat, as they prepare to engage in the arts or certainly tours, the gas that they pump into the stations, certainly the souvenirs, depending on the nature of the facility. So there's a direct tie-in, right? The hotel stays, et cetera. I think it is important as we do recognize this 10th year celebration that we again recognize that broad arc of all things within the arts. I would also, and I know that Paul will be elocuting in more detail, the incredible staff within the entire Division of the Humanities, Dean Shirley Britton at the back, Dean, and certainly here on site, Paul and his team, and the various ways in which on a daily basis they provide that space and that opportunity for that innovation and creativity to occur, whether it's here, the sculpture, the small metals or ceramics, and certainly as individuals come from ages 18 to 20. Some of the more seasoned. Basil Dross is looking at me, those seniors, yes, right? So even at this space, this is a very unique, some very unique things are happening here on a daily basis, a weekly basis, and certainly on a yearly basis. Let me just add one other comment that Chris Cathers, I want to be sure that I capture this quote because to me it brings the significance of this occasion together. And particularly as we recognize the visionaries definitely present tonight and you'll be hearing from. Chris Cathers, who is the Executive Director of the Kentucky Arts Council, said in our session in Frankfurt that you strengthen the value and visibility of the arts when you connect people in places where they find value. That's what we do here at this location. We connect people where they find value in terms of enrichment in their lives, in their vocations, in their life's journey. That's the sort of stuff that we do here at PSAD. And so I celebrate all of you and absolutely thank you for your support of WKCTC. With that, I will bring forth the 2008 PJC Chair, Ann Gwinn. Welcome, Ann.
I don't know if you know that this morning, Paducah's Sarah Stewart Holland appeared on Morning Joe to publicize her new book that she's written with Beth Silvers. And the name of it is I Think You're Wrong, But I'm Listening. And it's a very timely sort of analysis of how to bring people together, even when, in their words, they wear different jerseys. Tonight, Emily Yoakum Black is competing as one of the top 5 finalists in the American Traditions competition in Savannah, Georgia. And what these folks all have in common is a passion for arts. And it goes beyond a passion. It goes to disciplined passion. That makes the difference in the finest artists versus those who are just scribbling something on a piece of paper. The one person that I want to recognize tonight is Barbara Veazey. She thinks that she is a nurse and she thinks that she is an educator, but in fact, she's an artist. She has been weaving a big tapestry here for the last many, many years. And she has, in her passion for the community and for this institution, not just PSAD, but WKCTC, she has given us a blessing that most communities can only dream of. It's kind of curious that in 2002, when the Artist Relocation Program was starting, that was the first year that Barbara was president of what was then Paducah Community College and West Kentucky Tech. And that's when Barbara began to weave. She didn't know she was going to be a weaver, but her first mandate as president of the college was to weave 2 disparate colleges, WKT and PCC, into one comprehensive community college. They both had long histories, proud histories, and it wasn't always, not everybody wanted to merge, but Barbara got them woven together tightly, and the following year she became the president of now WKCTC. In the meantime, as the Artist Relocation Program was building in Lower Town, the notion of an art school began to percolate in the community between leaders and artists. And Joe Frampton, among others, and Bill Paxton decided that they would look to Savannah, Georgia, the PSAD program, as a model for Paducah's own artist relocation program. And slowly but surely that began to be realized. Some folks wanted a artsy, independent, we don't want any kind of rules institution. But since there were several of us involved in organized higher education, and among them the very passionate Barbara Veazey, the role for the art school began to emerge as part of West Kentucky Community and Technical College. This building was deemed the best site for the college early on. It was given to the city and then given to the PJC board. But when we went to Frankfurt and talked to the KCTCS architect, he said, "No way am I putting a dime in that building. It's old, new construction." So we licked our wounds because this has been the centerpiece of the program all along. And new plans started to be put together, and they were new, not very interesting. And lo and behold, the architect retired. And instead of the architect that didn't want to put a dime in here, we got a preservation architect who said, why in the world would you tear down that building and build a new one when you've got the most fabulous beginning for an art school, the crown jewel of an art school? So Paducah was very happy with that. Meanwhile, after all this was going on, all this unfolding of the art school, Barbara wasn't just doing an art school. She had a $1 million facility in Graves County. She had 2 other buildings besides this for the art school, the beginnings of the art school. Inland Marine and Logistics building was getting started. The Commonwealth scholarship program was going on, yada, yada. And then Aspen, of all things, Aspen. So she had a lot going on, but still she was weaving, she was constructing. After this centerpiece was built, she decided it was time for her to retire. She still comes here, but she is no longer coming as the chair of the head of the college. This time she's coming as a student. She's no longer weaving campuses together. She's now weaving threads and wool and cotton and all that kind of stuff. And we are grateful for that. And we would like to express our appreciation with a small gift. Barbara, where are you? I don't even see you.
Back here.
Come forth. Look, you're wearing threads.
I am. Those were just the loveliest words ever. Thank you, Ann.
Oh, well, you are a passionate artist yourself. It's artists
Are passionate.
and it's disciplined passion. That's you, my girl. And so that you can fantasize and go a little bit more, the PJC board has given you a gift certificate to Natalie, Alabama Channon's Boutique.
Alabama Shannon.
Yes, in Florence,
Fancy
Alabama.
that.
But are you surprised?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes.
So you have the choice of immersing yourself in whatever fabric art you want to immerse yourself in, or if it's a workshop or materials or clothing or what.
Thank you, Ann.
I love you, miss you, girl.
Thank you. I think those were the loveliest words ever. You know how much I loved this community and how much I love this college. And so when I stand here tonight, 10 years later, and when I got the invitation, I thought, 10 years? Oh, no, that happened in 16. And then it came back, the time, the struggle, the building on Broadway, all of those years came flooding back, and they were hard years, but what wonderful years they were as we built this beautiful art program, the Paducah School of Art and Design. This beautiful building, Dwayne Brown, it was just a creation that was more than we ever dreamed of. And we said that as we opened this program. But 10 years later, think of all that has happened in those 10 years. And it was never about the college. It was always about the community and what we could do in the arts for the community and for the Commonwealth. And I think that you're achieving that under the direction of Paul and the wonderful faculty and staff that are at this college. And I thank you, Anton Reece, my dear friend and colleague, for continuing the vision and continuing the dream. And I thank you so much for saying these kind words about me tonight. So thank you.
Well, I have the pleasure of closing our comments for this evening, and I will also have the pleasure of introducing my faculty and staff, without which none of this would be possible. When I first arrived here and had the opportunity to serve as an interim director, my modus operandi was that an art school was dependent on its facilities and its faculty. We had the faculty, we still have the faculty, and we now have the facilities. So we have a world-class art school here in Paducah, Kentucky. I am pleased to death that I wasn't here for those initial difficult years that Barbara mentioned. And again, I want to make sure to recognize Dwayne Brown for re-steering the boat and putting us back into the ship that we're sailing here at this point in time. So again, it's been my pleasure. I'm pleased and proud to have held this position for what is almost 9 years at this point. But again, I couldn't do it without the people that work for me. So I'm going to ask that we have a round of applause for our faculty and staff as we conclude their introductions, and I will introduce them individually. First is Evan Dubois. Evan is a sculpture instructor. He's the newest member of our faculty, and we're proud to have his skills and talent. Emily Esau is a an instructor in visual communications. She's brand new to the program as well. This is meaningful. And Tanya Gadbow-Knightsky is new to the program as well as a professor of 2D design and painting. So we have 3 new faculty members in a very short period of time, which indicates the support that we're getting both from Dr. Reece and from Dean Britton Shirley. We also have Beverly Quimby, who has been with the college for, dare I say it out loud, Beverly, over 27 years, I believe, right? So she is the head of the Visual Communications and Multimedia program. We have a slew of adjuncts who manage some other programs for us. Randy Simmons, of course, is our drawing professor. We are in a room filled with his work, extraordinary things. And Evan Dubois is the sculptor who accompanies here in this exhibition. So jumping back again to the adjuncts, we have Shannon Duffy, Alan Jackson, Rob Lorenz, Kevin Myers, J.P. Ray, and Anita Rodriguez-Fitch, who float the boat to keep the metaphor alive, right? So we're very proud and grateful for their services. As an individual who's tasked with many, many things, I'm certainly most grateful to Peggy Allgood, who serves as the administrative assistant for Paducah School of Art and Design. And I'm also grateful to Dean Britton Shirley, who again provides some guidance and helps to manage faculty, I suppose, right? I was at a College Art Association, it was a NASAD conference once upon a time, and the then leader of the Rhode Island School of Design, Roger, I could make up a last name, but I can't remember it. But anyway, he was giving a talk on how to deal with faculty, right? How do you, all you leaders of programs around the country, 300 of the top executive directors from the art schools around the country, how do you deal with faculty? He says, I'll tell you what I do. I love them unequivocally, and that's the only way to deal with them, right? I love them unequivocally. And everybody in the room kind of giggled. But the truth of the matter was he was absolutely genuine, right? Also, I'd like to, again, recognize Bill Ford, the namesake of our gallery, who is with us here this evening, and to thank him for the lovely gifts. He brought flowers and original art to celebrate and support this event tonight. So, again, a round of applause for all of them. So just to be brief, we again are, as Dr. Reece and others mentioned, we certainly support and build upon the programs of the community college. West Kentucky Community College is the mothership, as it were, but we also are a support system for the Lower Town Project in the city of Paducah. So we see these things as twin missions. Our services to the college include 2 degree programs. One is an Associate of Fine Arts degree, which is a 2-year degree that's largely structured to be a transfer program where we would best prepare students to transfer to other 4-year schools once they complete their 2 years with us, save them $25,000 in the process, and prepare them as well as anywhere they could be prepared at. And the other is an Associate of Applied Science degree, which is workforce development, primarily training people in the visual communications and multimedia fields to find work, hopefully here in Paducah, but otherwise elsewhere as their travels take them. And the last bit of exciting news that we have to share is that we were recently awarded a National Endowment for the Arts Our Town grant for the design of an interactive art park on the properties of the Paducah School of Art and campus. We have, in November, we released an RFQ, a request for qualifications for the project, and received we received 30 submissions from around the country. Some very significant artists were at play in this mix. We, as a group of West Kentucky faculty and staff and city representatives, narrowed that field down to 5 who will be asked shortly to prepare budgets and designs for an interactive park that sits on a property that we own that runs along the face of Martin Luther King Boulevard. So that's a big project. We will be creating in the course of the next week, nothing to that, right? Another committee that's larger in scope that will include community members, some project managers, the city of Paducah, West Kentucky staff, and that sort of representative field of interest. People would be users as well as those who have a vested interest in the success of the program. So be on the lookout for that, be alert to that. We're going to be structuring the opportunities to take input from the community to steer the development of the park. We're not looking for people to design the park. We have people in place who design parks, but we're looking to give them input from the community that would help to make that design meaningful and specific to the region. So those things will be coming up, and we will finalize our decision-making in May and release the names of the committee and the winning artist as close to the end of February as is possible. So I thank you for your time here tonight and for your attention, and I'm grateful for all of your support, and particularly, as I said, grateful for my faculty and staff for the things that they do to make my job both easier and pleasurable. Good night.